Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Melody and I love everything makeup related, especially eyeshadows. That's my weakness. And today I actually did place an order with Glamlite. So the plan for today is to review their new Willy Wonka palette. This is just the bag, the palette's right here. But I did go ahead and take it out. So it does come in this little kind of like a plastic bag pouch. And so when you pull out the palette, it also has a little golden ticket, so I guess it gets you in the right mind frame. But I'm going to make sure to put in some swatches for you guys. As soon as you open it, you will notice that it consists of 3 rows and 6 columns, so it's 18 shades in total. And as I was swatching these, I realized that they are very, very, very buttery smooth. The powders and the shimmers are just the right amount of creamy when you touch them. So you will be seeing those swatches on the screen. I'm also not too sure if I like putting a whole arm swatch of the palette because, I mean, I feel like you can already see the color story in the palette itself, and I don't know if it makes a big difference to actually see it on the arm. I do like doing the up close, so if you guys have any feedback for me, let me know in the comments. But something that really attracted me to this palette is that when you look at it, it looks, if you want to look at it this way, which kind of helps me mentally as well, you can look at it as 2 sets of 9. So this side is definitely more purple leaning and this one is more brown neutral friendly. And something that attracted me to this palette as opposed to the other ones that we have recently seen, I'm going to try to pop some pictures of them here. But all the other ones that we've seen are definitely more purple leaning towards pink. Whereas this one is definitely more purple, like a cooler purple palette, leaning towards the blues. So this one, it might even look borderline light blue. This violet looks more blue leaning as well, same with this one. And it does have those more pinkish tones of purple too. So I do think it's going to be very versatile in terms of the different purple looks that you create, which is something which I have noticed in the newer, not newer, but more recent purple palettes. It doesn't really give you an option for that, at least from what I've seen at a glance. Not that I've tried them, but you know, the one that Natasha Denona came out with recently, I think it's more like these plummy purple type shades. So I'm really excited to try this out. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and prep my skin as well as my eyelids, and I'll be right back. Alright, so face and lids have been prepped. I'm going to crack into this palette, and I think I'm going to stick to the purple side for now. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. So I'm interested in testing out the purples. So I do know from talk of the trade that typically purple shades are a little bit harder to formulate. If you've tried them before, you might notice that they can be a little bit patchy, not very easy to blend, things like that. So I'm going to focus on I guess this half of the palette for now. I'm going to take a different approach to some of the looks I've done lately. I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush and I'm going to go into this mid-tone purple. So I'm going to apply this right to where the crease is. I'm going to pat it in and then I'm going to blend it out. Okay, so far no complaints with the blending. I did prime with my paint pot as well as some translucent powder over top, which is what I would normally do. So I'm giving this a fair chance as I would with any other palette. It kind of, and I don't know if this is me or the brush, but it kind of wants to stay to where you apply it. So I think this is going to take a little bit more blending practice. That's also why I like to dot it on first and then blend it out in case that happens. You don't have one spot with like all of the concentrated color. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I kind of feel like it's, I guess where I applied it the second time was around here and the first time was up here. So I am seeing a little part here that isn't quite blending, but I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to replicate the same on the other side. And I am patting the excess as well. I'm going to pat it to map out where I want the crease to be. And then I'm going to blend it out gently. This is a beautiful color though. I really like this. I feel I don't wear purples often, and that's probably because a lot of the time the purples you find in palettes is always a little bit more like a plum like a reddish leaning or pink undertone type of purple. And this one is definitely much more cool than that. So again, that's one of the things that attracted me to this palette. Okay, it might have been my eyelid being weird on the other side because this one seems to be applying very, very well. And of course, whatever color you want to kind of blend out the edges with, that's going to determine what type of look or vibe the look gives. And by that I mean that if I blend out the edges with this lighter purple, it's going to give it more of a true cool purple look. Whereas if I were to blend it out with that pink on top, it would give a different look to the same colors that you applied. Okay, now I'm going to actually take a flat brush and I'm going to go into the deepest cool purple. So if you notice, it has a warmer purple as well as a cooler purple. I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to pack it onto the mobile lid. So what I'm trying to do here is do like a gradient from darkest to lightest, going this way. So darkest all the way across to the lightest, whereas normally what you see commonly is darkest to lightest from right to left or left to right, depending what eye you're looking at. So it'll be dark all the way to light, but I'm going to do the opposite. So dark all over the lid and up towards the brow bone is going to be light. So with this dark purple shade, I am just packing it on because I want all of the color to be concentrated here. And I do notice that there is a little bit of fallout there. I probably should have tapped it off, but we're going to test that out on the other side to see if it makes a difference. And I'm just going to pat it up towards that mid-tone purple that we had initially applied, and then I'm going to blend out the edges. And now I'm going to apply the same on the other side, but I'm going to tap it off this time. And the color does seem to pack on pretty well, so that's a good sign. I don't know much about like movies coming out or anything, so I do feel like it's kind of random to do a collab with Willy Wonka and the whole chocolate factory thing. But I mean, hey, if it means a new palette for us, why not? Okay, this is applied everywhere that I want, and now I'm going to blend out the edges between the mid-tone and the dark tone. And I'm just taking a slightly finer blending brush that doesn't have any powder or any color to it, and I'm going to try to blend those two colors together. If there was any patchiness, this is also where we would see it, because at this point the dark purple is over top that mid purple, so we'd be able to see if it's actually blending out or little bald patches are happening. I'm not seeing any right now, which is again a great sign. And I tapped off the brush before I applied it on this side, and I still did get a little bit of fallout. This is also why I'm doing my eyeshadow before the rest of my face, so in case that happened, I'd be able to clean it up before I go in with the foundation. I'm going to take a smaller blending brush and I'm going to tap into the lightest purple color, and I'm going to blend out the top there towards my brow bone. And if you've seen my videos before, you know that I like to complete the rest of my face and then I will finish the bottom portion of my eyes. So I will go ahead and do foundation, bronzer, blush, and everything, and I'll be right back. Alright, so the face is almost done, but I came back to finish my eyes. So I'm going to pop back into the palette, and I'm going to actually go onto the brown side to focus on the lower lash line now. I'm going to go into this shade on the top left, and I'm just going to blend out my lower lash line with this. I'll go back in for a darker color, but I'm just going to repeat the same on the other side. It's not coming up too strongly on me, so I'm actually going to go into this shade, which is next to the purple that we put in the in the crease. This one's showing up a little bit better on me now. I did have to go in, I was looking at myself, well, when I was doing the rest of my face, I was looking in a small mirror up close, and there were some areas that I had to pat in a little bit more of the deep purple on the mobile lid, because it did seem like it came off a tiny little bit. And I'm going to go into maybe this darkest purple here, and I'm going to use the smallest amount just on the outer corner here to deepen that out a tiny little bit, just barely. Then I'm going to take a clean, well, this is the rougher number 2, but it's kind of like a chubby, squarish looking. I'm going to take some of that light purple, and I'm going to put it on the lower inner tear duct, both sides. I feel like I look a little bit pale or washed out on camera, but in the mirror it looks a little bit healthier. I'm going to switch to a smaller pencil brush, And I'm going to tap into this shimmer shade on the top left corner. And I'm going to put that right in the inner tear duct. Right there. Just so it catches the light. And it brings some brightness back into the eye because I do have a lot of darkness going on with this purple shade. I'm going to lay that on the inner lower tear duct as well. And I'm going to repeat on the other side. And I'm going to bring that up just a tiny bit to hug around the dark purple part that we did. And the higher up I go, the lighter I get with my pencil strokes. Or brush strokes, I guess, if you want to look at it like that. I think you can see how it catches the light, that shimmer shade that we applied. And I'm actually going to add some shimmer to the lid itself, so let's see here. I don't want to go too dark. I'm going to go with a second shade on the top here. Actually, let's see, would that be crazy? Okay, hold for one moment. I'm going to see what's going to look better. So just a side note, I'm going to experiment a little bit on my hand here. So sometimes if you apply a shimmer over top of a color, it's going to bring out some notes of a sparkle that you didn't even realize was there, and it can change the look quite a bit. I'm trying to decide if I should go for this shimmer or maybe the brown one or this one here. So what I'm doing is I'm applying a little bit of that dark color on 3 different parts of the back of my hand. So these are going to be like my swatch samples. And I'm going to apply those 3 colors to those different purples just so you guys can see how it might change. That different undertone is going to change what the colors actually look like over top of that matte. So if I go with that dark purple shimmer, I'm going to put that over top of this one. I'm going to take the mid-tone one and then that bronzy one. You could probably see how it does change. They're under the same matte purple, but just applying the different shimmer over top does give it a different look. Okay, I think I'm actually going to go into this brown here. I'm just going to pick it up with my finger and I'm going to apply it to the center of the lid. Oh, this is not the right one. I grabbed a darker one by accident. Sorry, that was the wrong brown. I was looking at the one on top here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this brown here and I'm just going to apply it to the center of the lid. Hopefully we won't regret that choice. I want it to be slightly wearable. Slightly, not to be too wearable. Okay, so I'm just placing it in the middle of the lid, going upwards and just patting it out on the sides, but I'm focusing the majority of it on the center of the lid. So it looks like this. I think that's a good combo. It actually looks very pretty. I don't think we see gold and purple together very often in a shadow eyeshadow. Okay, so if I had to give this a look, I would call it a purple sunset halo eye. I guess it's not much of a sunset. Just the gradient from darkest to lightest makes me think of like that color intensity that you see when the sun is setting. Okay, now I'm intrigued. I want to do a dark blue with the gold over top. I feel like it's gonna look kind of like when you look out into like the ocean or a body of water at nighttime and the light of the moon, or I guess the glow of the moon is reflecting from it. That's what it makes me think of. That is definitely a look for another day. I think that combo actually turned out really pretty. Okay, now I feel like this is a slippery slope. I might take a little bit of that, the gold, just like nothing almost in my finger. And I'm going to apply that right to the center of the lid, closest to the lash line. So I get a little bit more gold. Just there though. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do liner lashes and I will be right back again. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I really like how it turned out. I don't know why I didn't, maybe subconsciously actually come to look at the packaging. It is purple and gold, so it makes sense that I would do this. I guess it didn't seem that bold in my face right away, but it makes sense, you know. Purple gold, makes sense. But overall, I really like the quality of this palette. The color story I think is absolutely beautiful. It does make sense, you know. When you think of Willy Wonka, you think of his purple long, what is this? It's not a trench coat. This is like fancy coattail. So purple, brown, I think the combination is beautiful. On the eyes, I think this does give a very good range of, you know, fun looks to do. And especially if you're more of a neutral girly, this is going to be perfect for you with those optional pops of color for whenever you're feeling like jazzing things up on the day that you want to play around with your eyeshadow. So yeah, I really like this palette so far. The purple shades that I used, so I did use 1, 2, 3 of the matte purples. I used, let's see, one of the shimmery with the purple flecks in it and the little bronze color there. Again, when they swatched, they were very smooth. None of them felt dry or powdery. The purples blended out really well. I did have to go in, as I mentioned, to build up that purple just a little bit where I had applied it with that flat brush. So I did have to build that up a tiny bit more, but it didn't have any actual patchiness to it. I know I had a little bit of an issue on the left eye, but I think it was just me. My eye must have been acting up. But overall, quality is there, definitely. Glamlite does make some really good quality shadows as well, so no surprise there, and at a very affordable price point. So if you are someone who's going to get a lot of use from the browns especially, that is about half the palette there. If you're going to use those browns and you want the occasional pop of color, and especially if purple is like your favorite color to do your eye with, I highly recommend this palette. I think there's a lot of great looks that you can do. And just, you know, even if you wanted to do a very neutral brown on the outer corner and then just half of the lid to be this brown with like the pop of sparkle, that would look absolutely gorgeous as well. So overall, good palette. As I mentioned in my last video, I do think there's always room for improvement with everything, all aspects of life, makeup included. So my one critique here probably would be, I do really appreciate that they provided a really deep brown shade as well as a deep purple. Perhaps a lighter purple, even lighter than this one, would have been fun, but I do know that they provided that sparkle for the inner cornea, which was a great call because it does look very nice there. But if there would have been something even lighter than that one, that would have been very nice, I think. I'm not sure if this one is very necessary. I would have maybe replaced it with a lighter shade of purple than this one. But again, that's just being nitpicky. This was a really great palette. It was very fun to do this look. And I can't wait to see what other looks you guys come up with as well. So I hope you guys like this. As always, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.